Coach, I've been fascinated by what I've seen happening in women's sports in general. Let's start with the macro before we get down to the micro here. I'm a believer in all things in life that high tides raise all ships. And it just seems like, we're seeing Nelly Korda in golf. We're seeing what Caitlin Clark has been doing in basketball. And the women's national team has been bubbling under the surface for 20 years. But it just seems like right now there is, I don't know if the word is a resurgence or a surgence in women's sports and the interest in women's sports. Is that something I'm just imagining, or are you feeling that as well?
No, I will go with surgeons. I think when you look at it, we've seen isolated incidents in the past, this person, but now we're seeing different sports, different personalities, different sponsorships. It's coming from all directions now. So I'll definitely go with surge. I think it's coming. I don't think it's going to stop.
Talking with some of your players already, there is a palpable excitement, and I don't know if it's as much excitement about playing professionally, they've done that, as it's an excitement of almost, I can't believe we're getting to play professionally in this country to this extent.
In this city. Yeah. I think that's the other thing, right? We're really fortunate with our market in terms of players coming in from all over the country, but we've got a lot to sell here in Charlotte. We've got a lot to sell in the Carolinas, and I think when you look at this being a sports town, Panthers, Hornets, NASCAR, Knights, you name it, now to add a women's professional sports team, let alone a women's professional soccer team, I think it's an exciting time for everyone. So they're excited to play here in the Carolinas and here in Charlotte.
What I see, a fourth of your roster, or Carolina girls 3 out of 12 or 4 out of 12, something like that. It's either a third or a fourth of your roster. Was there a conscious effort made to do that sort of thing?
Yeah, and that's across the organization. It's not just with the roster, but yeah, we're really looking at bringing our best players home. So you look at some of the players that have been on your show already, to bring them back from wherever they're playing in the world, to bring them home to play here in the Carolinas for Carolina Ascent has been huge. But that's not just with our roster, right? That's right across our organization. We've hired from Charlotte, from North Carolina, and we're going to continue to do that. So a big push for that. You
have had a tremendous, varied coaching career in terms of coaching men and women. Give me the biggest differences that you see in coaching both.
Well, I've got a bad answer for you. I don't see a difference. I don't talk differently, don't treat anyone differently. And I think I treat a male player the same as I'll treat a female player. I think at the end of the day, the word is player, the word is professional. Professional men or women want the best, they demand the best, and they give the best. So I don't see it any differently.
That's fantastic. So in terms of the makeup of the league, I really hadn't looked until just a few minutes ago as far as the cities in which there are teams. Now, the initial cities for the USL, Brooklyn, Carolina, Dallas, D.C., Fort Lauderdale, Lexington, Spokane, and Tampa. The one thing that strikes me is right now there's only one team that is west. There's plans for expansion out further west. Was there a reason for that, for starting on for a more eastern
Yeah, the league's going to double in size next year, that's for sure. And obviously there'll be a lot more West Coast teams. But I think year one, they wanted to make sure that any young sports league, no matter the sport, let alone soccer, they want to make sure we've got sustainability, we've got invested owners, we've got owners that are, let's just say it, wealthy enough to make sure this is a legitimate Division 1 sports league. And I think they've been very careful, very selective in who they've opened the door to year one. And I think that's going to pay dividends later down the line. So definite expansion coming. But I think USL, United Soccer Leagues have vetted their owners very carefully and picked the right people to make sure that this league is sustainable for the long term.
Of course, you're a competitor, you're a coach, you want to win. The answer you always give is when you ask, well, what is the goal? Well, we want to win a championship. But just taking a step back, at the end of year one, after we get done with this year one, what to you would look back and go, this has been a successful first year for the Carolina Ascent? What would we be looking at team-wise and organization-wise?
I couldn't agree with you more, right? I've never met a professional that doesn't want to win, and we're no different. So winning is the number one priority. But I really look at it's important to me. So I've been in Charlotte now for 25 years. This is what I consider home. So for us to have a big impact in what I consider my hometown, to connect with the community, to fill that stadium up time and time again, I think we have the best venue in the league. American Legion Memorial Stadium, right in the heart of Elizabeth, where our headquarters are. I think it's the perfect size, right? 11, 12,000 people packing that stadium, affordable for families and, people that want to come out and get behind women's sports. So for me, connecting with that community, filling that stadium up, and obviously, like we said, winning is the main priority.
You know, I think that's an important thing. I did a lot of work with the Carolina Checkers over the years, and I can remember doing public address work for them when they were in the Spectrum Center. And they would draw 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 fans on a really good night. Okay, 8,000 fans in the Spectrum Center looks like two people in this room. I mean, it's just cavernous. But the moment that they went to Bojangles, it was the perfect size venue for them. All of a sudden, 6, 7, 8,000. It's a rowdy and raucous crowd. So I think you're right. The venue is so important so that when people come out, they feel that sense of community. It's just hard to feel that sense of community at a live event when you're looking 2 sections away to see the next person.
Yeah, and we have to own that too, right? Like, our job is to make sure the energy in the stadium is right, the event is right, the feel and the buzz around the place is right. And that's not just the product on the field, but that's the product off the field too. So we have to own some of that. I would expect the community is going to get behind us. The community are going to fill our stadium, and it's up to us to say, hey, this is a really great night. This is a great night for everyone, not just families, not just sports fans, but everyone. And we own a part of that, and we're going to do a great job with that.
Well, you know, being the first, public relations is such a huge thing. Do all of your players recognize the importance of everything that they do off the field as well as on the field, that there's a responsibility that they have to sort of grow this team and to get the name out there?
Yeah, I think that goes back to the start. I think that's across women's sports, right? I think everyone understands we're now out of that early growth stage. The pioneers are going to be legends for the rest of their days, but now we have to make sure we build on their work. So our players understand they have to be visual in the community. They have to be willing to kind of go above and beyond. And, you know, they want to. And I think that's part now of being a professional athlete, right? You have to build your brand. You have to connect with people, and people only want to follow people that they can see and they're visual.
So you say you've been here for 25 years.
This is home.
That accent is so Gastonia. I never would.
Most people say I've lost my accent, so I'm glad to hear that.